Hello everybody. First of all, I wanted to say I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and you're having a good time during the festivities. With that said, I wanted to take a little time to make a video explaining from 4X all the way to 100X, the Stetson lineup and the X's within the Stetson lineup. So this will not be a comparison against X's from other companies. As we know, X's bear no weight from company to company. But I wanted to give you a little bit of guidance within the Stetson lineup and how they stack up against one another. With that said, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back everybody, it's Strongbow, and today we're going to go over all the X's in the Stetson lineup from 4X all the way to 100X at least. These are the ones that are most people obtain and the bulk of what people buy, so I figured I'd go over them and maybe give you a little rundown as to where they're best and where their strong points are and their weak points are for each of these, and maybe a little comparison as to their characteristics and things like that. So please do me a favor, click the like button and feel free to subscribe if you like the content I bring to you. It really helps me out a lot, guys. It goes a long way and it would be forever appreciated. With that said, let's move forward. First, I'm going to take this is the 4X Corral. It's part of their Buffalo collection. You'll know these because inside they are marked 4X and it's almost like branded or embossed in there. These 4X Buffalo collections are a really good all-around hat. They run in the $170 price range, and you can get a lot of variants of this. The Stetson Powder River is a Buffalo collection, the Revenger and the Seneca. All these hats that I'm mentioning are also hats that I have done reviews on. If you want, feel free to click on any of them, and in case any of those interest you. I also have a playlist. You can feel free to check that out if you just want a little run on between all the hats or all the comparisons that I do versus other hats. With that said, this hat is really good. It's a good daily wear. It's actually a phenomenal daily wear, and it holds up very well to inclement weather. And for the price point, I think it's really the best bang for the buck hat that you're going to get from Stetson. I'm a really big advocate of these hats. They're thicker, they're super stiff, the brims are super stiff, but I'm going to tell you, when they break in, these things are really, really comfortable and they do the job. And they grow on me more and more every day. The next one up would be the Stetson Skyline. The Stetson Skyline is a lot softer. This is primarily a rabbit hat. It's primarily made out of rabbit. Remember that with all of these, Stetson does not divulge specifics and fur content. So when I say it's primarily rabbit, it's because I can't just go out and say it's all rabbit, but this is what's known as their hat. That's basically their rabbit hat, okay? And the difference between the Corral and this one is the Corral is buffalo or North American bison, I would have to say, is what they meant. But they call it the Buffalo collection. This is buffalo fur felt. This is rabbit fur felt. And both these hats are really good. This one's a lot more plush. But if you were to take this hat and put it up against a 4X wool hat from their San Angelo collection, this one would hold up better in inclement weather, although its staying power isn't as good, believe it or not, as this 4X. And this is why I say this 4X Buffalo collection really has something to it. Because with the 4X Buffalo collection, it is much more resistant to losing its shape in the water versus the rabbit. Now, if you were to put this 4X against a wool 4X or this 6X against a wool 4X, both of these would outperform it, but this one, this 4X, would outperform the 6X. Okay? And I wanted to be clear on that, because a lot of people think that because if you state that a hat does pretty well or holds up pretty decent in the rain, that it has to be understood for a lot of people that haven't owned a lot of these. All fur felt hats absorb some level of water. They absorb water, and the tighter the weave and the more beaver you put in, the more resistant they are to ruining their shape. But eventually, any hat can eventually be waterlogged. It's a matter of drying them, and it's part of the normal process for a hat to get soaked, and eventually over time, after it's dry, steaming it and just reshaping it. People are under the impression, I think, that you can buy a hat, it's supposed to be waterproof, it's never supposed to lose its shape, no matter what you throw at it, and that's just not true, guys. And I wanted to clear that up because people who haven't been into this too long, or haven't owned many hats, somehow I think are misled by thinking that a specific hat can just withstand just about anything. Every hat has its limits, but as they go up, each hat is just a bit more resilient, right? So moving on to the 10X. This is the Stetson 10X Shasta. You've seen me do the review video on this. I love this hat. It is a very snappy, lightweight hat, and it's the first hat in their lineup that offers beaver, where they actually stipulate right there on the sweatband, beaver. This is where Stetson starts including beaver into their fur felt. So this hat is got some rabbit in it, and it's got a percentage of beaver in it. This is their first step also of their premium line. From the Shasta, from the 10X up, everything you're going to get is going to be in a black box, which is their premier line. Okay? So with that said, there's a big jump, even though there's only 4Xs from a 6X to a 10X, it's only a 4X jump. It is a world of difference in hat, in quality, in performance, and just everything about it, okay? And there's only a 2X jump from the Buffalo 4X to the Skyline 6X, just so you understand the difference, okay? So just because the X's are close and the jump isn't as dramatic as, like, let's say to 100 or 500, does not mean there isn't a difference in performance. Okay, so with that said, this one right here, it's light, it's snappy, it's known for this. It's the type of hat that you put on, it's very nice, it's got the nice bends on it, and at this point, you're in their premium line, and this will start holding up very well to inclement weather. It's also thin, and this is something I wanted to explain to you. The 4X and the 6X are thicker hats, but this one is known for being thin and very light on the head, and this is where the ornamentation starts picking up. You get the gold tone, the silver tones, and the rhinestones are being put in there, but they're starting to look a little nicer. You know, you start getting the nicer sheepskin or calfskin sweatbands. And then we move over into the 30X line. Now, mind you, this is the 10X. So there's a 20X difference between the 10X and the 30X, and this is the next one in succession. So you see the trend we're going from? We're going from a 4X, a 6X, a 10X, and now a 30X. Okay? Now this 30X, it has the thickness of a Stetson Skyline. The difference is this has way more beaver in it, and it's almost like an enhanced version of the Shasta, only thicker. So if this one is already in the premier line and it's holding up well, magnify this, take this, make it thicker, add more beaver, add a classier sweatband to it, you know what I mean? And in a nicer finish all around, and you get the Stetson Patron. The Stetson Patron is a sterling silver. At this point, you're getting into the precious metals. It's not a plate or a tone or the way it looks. But at this point, it is sterling silver, 3-piece buckle set. And this is where they start adding value to the hat outside of the craftsmanship. When you buy a hat, in theory, no matter what the quality you buy, the fit should be spot on. Even though each one runs differently, in theory, they should all fit the same. The only thing that should really change is what they're made out of and their purpose. and also how they're made, right? Whether they're more mass produced, less hands on it, if more hands on it takes more time, those kinds of things that really bring out the value in the hat. When you get to a Patron level, you're talking a $700 price tag on these. So when you buy these hats, if I had to pick an overall, everyday, all-around hat that's just going to be a workhorse and put up with just about everything, it's going to be this one. It's going to be this one because even though the price point is getting up there, it's going to shrug off just about everything. This is the hat. Is the Shasta a bad hat? No, it's phenomenal. It's basically up to you guys what you use your hats for. Do you guys use your hats for a weekend out? If you use your hats for a weekend out and you're just worried about the look, it's a 4X for you. If you're gonna wear it on the weekends and you're in an area that you might get caught in rain, it's still a 4X for you. This is probably your best choice. If you want a hat that's made a little nicer, that really, really breaks in beautifully, and you swear it belongs, like you were born with it. Like these Stetson 6X Skylines, for some reason, they have an exceptional level of comfort. They're very well made, but they're just not going to stand up to inclement weather as well as a 4X Buffalo. Again, not a 4X wool. If that's what you're looking for, something nice, something soft, that when someone touches it, they say, wow, that's a nice hat. You feel the softness, you feel the value, you feel like you're carrying something of substance without the huge price tag. This is where you want to be. You want to be with the Skyline. Those are about $350 a hat. When you get to the 10X level, you're talking about $550, and the introduction to Beaver. And then the 30X, you're talking about $7. And these are the workhorses. These 30Xs are the best overall. If you're any type of person who does work, can use them for anything and everything, and not worry about anything, the most versatile of all the aspects would be this one. Now, we enter the 100X. A whole new level of hat over this one. At this, you're talking a $1,300 price tag for a hat like this. Can it handle what all these hats can? Of course they can. This is, at this point, your hat, you have a ton of beaver in here, and this hat can really withstand just about anything you throw at it, and it comes with a lot of the nice perks. At this point, you're getting 14 karat gold, or 10 karat gold, I think, buckle set, and this one happens to be two-tone with a silver overlays on it, but it is 10 karat gold. And when you get to the 1000X, you get 14 karat gold, I believe, is what it is. But I don't have those here because these are the ones that most people will attain in their lifetime for one purpose or another. And maybe down the line, if I ever get to the point where I could get an El Amo or a Diamante, I will clearly make a video about that and then share my experiences with that. But this one's was a limited edition with a hand-tooled leather band, and you get a lot. It's the craftsmanship now. When you get to this level, it's the quality and the craftsmanship, and you go back down to thin again. They really, really pack this beaver. There's so much more beaver in it and less other fur felts like rabbit in it, and it's packed so dense that you get back to this snappy kind of thickness that you get with the Shasta, that actually has a lot less beaver in it, but it's packed tight. This is really, really spun really tight. It's a lot thinner than the Stetson Patron, but this one can withstand just about anything you throw on it because the beaver content is just so high. I wanted to open up the door to all this because there's on so many levels, people want to buy what they can afford, and they wonder if there's a hat for them, or they wonder if there's something that they can afford that can fit specific function. Or if they're just getting into it, right? Because when you're getting into something, you're not as invested as to someone who's already a fan or someone who likes a certain look or dresses a certain way, who's willing to spend a little bit more or make it more of a priority within their budget or within their lifestyle. So to those people I say, get a 4X Buffalo. They're a good hat. You can't go wrong. If you care about the looks, you're going to an evening party, you're indoors, you can get a San Angelo collection wool 4X, which isn't here. But just remember, I tend to shy away from those because those tend to run big. Some people like hats that run big, so by all means, just know that those will run. They run a full size larger than what they say. So if you're in between, if you're out for testing it and you're there and you see one in person, go ahead and do what you got to do, or give it a try. You might actually like them. But I know these are true to size, these 4X Buffalo collections. They're on the snug side, but they pop on and they stay there. You know a wind isn't going to come and just rip it off your head. The Skyline also fits true to size. The truest fitting hat I have bought at that size, to me, has been the Skyline. This one is true to size, a little snug, the 4X Buffalo. This is true to size. And I noticed as you move up the line, these three are all true to size, but a little bit on the looser side. Not that they're not true. They fit right on, but they don't. This offers the best combination of grip on your head with comfort without being too tight. This one's a little bit snug, but comfortable. And then these tend to be just a little bit on the looser side, but still very comfortable. You can break them in or maybe put a little something inside to get them to fit a little more plush. It could be just the shape of my head, but for my purposes, and the reason I'm so confident in the 7 1/4 size for me is because I'm bald, right? Guys, so there's no hair. My hair I can't have a bad hair day. I can't have short hair one day and longer hair the next day, and the hats fit different. They fit the same all the time because my head is basically like a mannequin, right? You put it on and it is what it is, right? Either it fits or it doesn't fit. So my head tends to be a good gauge for these sizes, and that's why I share that with you. With all this said, I know this is a lot, guys, but with all this said, I just wanted to give a little mention to this Rawhide. It's a 3X Buffalo, which actually sits right below the 4X. Okay, these can be had about $40 cheaper than this. These you can get for about $1.10, $1.20, depending, and they're below the 4X. But these they're different, right? You can see how the build gets really affected. See how you can see the lip where they come up and fold it over. It's a small, thinner membrane, more malleable membrane of buffalo fur felt, but nonetheless, it's buffalo fur felt, and they still give you the sweatband with the embossed X's in there that says 3X Buffalo. It's a pinch front. They make a couple different versions of this. And I wanted to throw that in there because this is good for someone who doesn't want maybe a 4-inch brim. These are 3.5-inch brims. They got a little bit more of that rugged look, a little gangster look, kind of like the Drifter does, and the Seneca's a little more upscale version of it. But these little shorter brims with the pinch front, they offer their own look. They're almost like the Indiana Jones or the kind of things that you see in the movies, right? So, or Billy the Kid style. So I wanted to give these a mention because these are pretty decent hats too. They're just not in the traditional, cattleman crown kind of cowboy hat look like this one is. This one being a 75 40 profile. This one being a 75 42. The only difference between these two profiles is this one is a 4 1/4-inch brim versus a 4-inch brim. And then these two are 48 profiles. So these are 48 40 profiles. So these are 4-inch brims, but they got what Stetson calls a slight curve. This one has less because they actually reduced it a little. But when they come in, the curve is, I think, a little bit heavier than Stetson suggests. And then I believe this is a 77 profile. So this is just curved up a little bit. And this is just a phenomenal hat. If you have the means and you're a guy who's older, or it doesn't matter if you're older or younger, but you want to fit the part, and you got some nice little evening events too. This is a nice little hat to bring. It stands out, and it really exudes a level of class unlike no other. As do things when you get to the 30X and the Premier level, they all do. But that Presidente just carries a little, there's just a little something about it that carries a little bit more. With that said, guys, I know we covered a lot on this video, so I was hoping that I was able to help you in one way or another. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below in the comments. Again, if you like the content I bring to you and you like this video, please click that like button and smash that subscribe. It helps me a lot. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care, guys.